Hi, it's Gene, retired in Mexico, and I'm here with Professor Gumbo from Phoenix, Arizona, and we're going to count down our 30 favorite David Bowie songs. But before we do that, please engage. We appreciate it. Hit the like or subscribe button, comment. We also have a link below to the Spotify playlist. We'll be making a playlist of our favorite songs so that you can listen to them. And we're going to go five at a time. Uh, Jim is going to start. I'm going to call him Jim, but Professor Gumbo is his nickname, which you mentioned you got in. I thought you had gotten it teaching high school, but you said you received that while a student at the university, right?
At ASU, yes. That's where it
Yeah.
started. The name Gumbo. The professor was added on when I was a teacher.
Oh, okay. So the gumbo is because you had such a wide range of interests.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, we're like that way. I have a range of interests. So maybe as I get older, it's getting slightly narrower, but not much.
And I make a killer gumbo.
Do you?
And I do, yeah.
Sausage?
Yeah, andouille sausage and chicken and uh, tasso ham. Although now that Cindy's vegan, I have to make a vegan version of it. But I'm getting better every time I make a vegan version.
Well,
But yeah,
wonderful.
I still like my
So,
original.
uh, yeah, even though I don't eat those particular meats, I would because I'm not Muslim or anything. I would eat it to be polite and to experience the wonderness because I'm sure it's awesome. Yeah, and Jem and I are separated by a couple thousand miles or a couple thousand kilometers. I'm not sure how far it is, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going to let Jem start. I mentioned that I'll be doing some very brief honorable mentions. I don't know if he has any, but we're going to do five at a time and try to move through this at medium speed. We'll take a little bit of time, maybe a minute to talk about every song. All right, go ahead.
All right, you can hear me now. Okay, so my top 30 Bowie songs are my personal subjective favorite Bowie songs. They include a couple covers. They include some deep tracks. Um, they they are conspicuously missing some of the Bowie jukebox, greatest hits, because some of those songs I've lived with for so long, I like them, but not as much as other ones. That I came up with this list when I wanted to make a three disc. Um, Actually, was it a two disc? It was a two disc or three. Anyway, I came up with it was a three disc Bowie collection, and so these are the songs I put on. Okay, so 30 through 26. 30, Strangers When We Meet. Uh, two recordings of that, one from Buddha of Suburbia and one from Outside. The I first became more familiar with the song from the Buddha of Suburbia soundtrack, but the more I've listened to it, I actually prefer the Outside version of it, which is just a little bit edgier. And it's one of Bowie's great crooner songs, and it's a beautiful song. And it has kind of a mysterious song about it. We're strangers when we meet. And so love that song. Next is a Bob Dylan cover, Trying to Get to Heaven. I've read really great things about it, and I've read negative things about it. For me, it's a very positive thing. I love Bowie's Trying to Get to Heaven. Um, I love it better than Dylan's version. It was an outtake from ours. And I just, it's especially meaningful now, even though it was recorded in 1998. I keep thinking about Bowie singing "Trying to Get to Heaven" before they close the door.
Mm.
Uh, then the number 28, "Ashes to Ashes," the uh, the return the return of Ziggy Stardust, of Major Tom, the return of Major Tom. from Scary Monsters. And as a partner to that, right with it, is the 1979 bonus track of Scary Monsters, Space Oddity, the a version of it that is the same arrangement, but it's Bowie grown up, and I just really like this version of it. So if you love the song Space Oddity, there's no reason why you wouldn't like this one, but I choose this one. And then we go to Starman, the original single mix, which if you were watching our previous albums, you'll know that Starman was Bowie um, doing a nod to Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but it became a major hit for him when it came out. So, Strangers When We Meet, Trying to Get to Heaven, Ashes to Ashes, Space Oddity, the bonus track from Scary Monsters, and Starman.
Wow, great list. I haven't heard that Space Oddity in a long time, so I'll look forward to playing that. My criteria is very much the same. This is a subjective playlist of what I want to hear now. It could change in the future. I want to mention three honorable mentions because I got down to 33 songs and I had the hardest time trying to get this down to 30 tracks. And so I just want to shout out three songs that I really love that were extremely painful for me. And I made a arbitrary decision not to take more than three songs from one album. So the last song that I cut was Fashion from Scary Monsters because I had the most number of tracks from that album. But I love Fashion, and that one hurt the most, I think. I cut When from Young Americans, and I cut Panic in Detroit live version from David Live. So those were extremely painful cuts. But here I am at my top 30. So let's run the first five down. I have a Tin Machine song. I Can't Read. That's my favorite Tin Machine song. I know he recorded it twice, I believe, but I like this version by Tin Machine. And it's got a great vocal by Bowie and a great melody. Number 29 is my favorite song from Young Americans. And this is the song Right. That's it. Right. Wonderful. It's the only song I think on the album that has clavinet. And so it's very distinctive. Love the background vocals and Sanborn. They're uh, playing off each other. Then Bowie and the background singers are playing off each other. And then it's really unique for a Bowie song because the background vocalists, Luther Vandross, Robin Clark, I'm trying to remember, I can't remember the names of the other singers, but they're all doing the outro without him unless he's also a background vocalist. But it's very unusual for Bowie not to end the song. He just lets the background vocalist take the outro, and it's beautiful. Number 28, I have from Let's Dance, I have China Girl. Okay, this is one of my favorite Iggy Pop songs. This one was released on The Idiot in 1977. As we talked about in the albums list, Bowie has done many, many, many Iggy covers. China Girl, in my opinion, is the best of them. And his interpretation is absolutely brilliant. It might be the only Iggy Pop cover where I prefer Bowie's version over Iggy's version, although it's narrow. These lyrics by Iggy Pop, music's by Bowie, lyrics by Iggy Pop are just wonderful. And I think this is one of Bowie's greatest vocals. You were talking about his vocals earlier. Uh, the dynamics on here, the way he just shouts during lines like "I'll give you television, I'll give you eyes of blue, and you shouldn't mess with me," and there's even a little growl, and then he comes to that thing where he just goes, "Shh." There is such a dynamic build up, and then it comes back down, and I think it's one of Bowie's absolute best vocals. Great um, Nile Rodgers production. And then, can it get any better? Yeah. Let's put Stevie Ray Vaughan on the outro and let him take us out on guitar. Wonderful. Number 27 from Heroes, I have Joe the Lion, a very unusual song about a performance artist whose name was not Joe, it was something else. But man, this song really rocks. And then the microphone placement is so interesting because he's kind of hollering in the background, and then all of a sudden you get that thing where he comes up close to the mic and he says, "It's Monday. Slither down the greasy pipe." And it's right there. It's right in front of you. And then we go back. Visconti did all these different tricks with microphones, and I love Joe the Lion. It's screaming, it's intense, it boogies, it's funky. I love everything about it. And then number 26, originally from Low, but I'm going with the live version. This is Breaking Glass. And I'm taking the stage version for a couple reasons. One is that it's longer. It's such a short song on Low. Some people don't like the lyrics. I drew "Don't Look at the Carpet." I drew something awful on it, but I don't mind it. Alomar, Davis, and Murray are locked in. Then you have that that descending synth line that's so distinctive. So I can't read, write, China Girl, Joe the Lion, Breaking Glass.
Okay, so my next five, a deep track, a bonus track, and a remake, and that is Shadow Man, but it's the later Shadow Man recorded in 2002 and released it was recorded for Heathen, but was released on Poi, and it's a beautiful, poignant, aching song, and Bowie does good ballads, okay, and this is a really fantastic song. Many of you may never have heard it. Look it up. Try to hear the newer version of it because it's the better version of it. Then we've got another cover, Waterloo Sunset, which was a bonus track from Reality. This is probably my favorite Kinks song. And what can I say about it? It's a great song by the Kinks. Okay, it really is. And to say that Bowie's is as good is saying a lot. But I don't know if I had to choose one of them. I would be really hard pressed to choose one over the other. But I love Bowie's Waterloo Sunset, and I love the song partly because I've been there. Okay. I've been on the south bank of the Thames near the Waterloo station, and it has a real emotional resonance with me when Davies or Bowie sings this. Then, number 23, Where Are We Now from the Next Day, which was a really powerful video and powerful song. And just it's a haunting song. It's almost a scary song in some ways, and I'm not quite sure why. But whenever I hear it, I just sort of think, where are we now? And it's not a good time song, but I love it. I mentioned in uh, our last episode that I love the outtake from Ziggy Stardust, "Sweet Head." Um, it's got a great riff to it by Mick Ronson, great melody, hilarious lyrics, including "I'm the kind of I'm the kind of man you warned me of. Till there was rock, we only had God." And I love that. Till there was rock, you only had God. Um, so, okay, but I'm the kind of man she warned me of. Yeah, mother. But till there was rock, we only had God, and that is so Bowie. And then from Earthling, Little Wonder. one of Bowie's best, if possibly his best drums and bass techno song, You Little Wonder You. And his vocal line on that is really exceptional also. So Shadow Man, Waterloo Sunset, Where Are We Now, Sweet Head, and Little Wonder.
Great list. And I should be transparent with the audience. I forgot to mention this, but in 2019, Jem made a Spotify playlist called Loving the Alien. And I copied it because we're friends on Spotify, and I copied it, but I haven't looked at it in a while. I looked at it a few weeks ago, but I've forgotten a lot. Like I knew you had Little Wonder on there, but I forgot about Shadow Man. So I did mean to be transparent with the audience. The albums list was a big surprise. Well, not a big surprise, but certain surprises. The songs list, I think Jem is going to be more surprised by my list than I by his. Correct? Yeah, I have a pretty good idea what's on yours. Okay,
Yeah,
let me.
I've made a few changes. I've made a few changes since that playlist, but otherwise it's it's probably 90% the same list.
Okay, number 25 for me from Lodger, which I mentioned how much I like that song. I have Boys Keep Swinging. Um, it's got this contrast of funk with Adrian Blue's hollering, squealing guitar. Great lyrics, and here we go again. Great bass line. This is one of George Murray's better bass lines. Love Boys Keep Swinging. Love the video as well. Great. Number 24, I have Space Oddity here. Gus Dudgeon's production is excellent. It's great lyrics. Love the mellotron, the strings. I have the original version from '69 on here. I didn't even think about putting another version. One thing that Bowie got away from was narrative. So this was back when he was doing a cogent story that you could follow. And later he would do less narrative. He would do the William Burroughs cut up technique and be more and more abstract. Um, and then later in his career, he went through a phase where he would actually be kind of nostalgic and kind of direct with his emotions. So he's gone through different lyrical phases, but this is one of the best of his just pure narration or narrative songs. Love Space Oddity in it and the imagery, right? I mean, the imagery. There's that video with the spaceship. I don't need that video. I can make my own movie in my own head. And there's also wonderful use of a double Bowie vocal, right? It's real prominent in there where he's singing in one key and then in another register at the same time, and you hear him pan to the left and right, and that's so much fun. Um, Number 23, Sweet Thing candidate, Sweet Thing. I agree, it's one song. I'm taking the version from David Live. Great interplay. I like, well, first of all, it's just a great song, and you already talked about it on the albums list, but it's got such imagery and that sort of little Mae West part and everything, where the boys part and all that. It's got a real character in it. But the live version I like for a couple reasons. One is because I can get it on Spotify as one song. I had to cheat though, because on David Live, they have it broken as three tracks. But if you go to the box set, which is called the blue one, with a lot of a '70s material, that box set has it as one track. When Visconti remixed it and remastered it, he made it one track. But the interplay between Earl Slick and David Sanborn is magnificent on that live version. And then it's interesting because it has, to my ear, only male background vocals. And I know David Live had female background vocals, but It's just men singing the background vocals. It's very effective. Lyrics are so dramatic. Number 22 from Low, I have Sound and Vision. Catchy melody, those synth lines, the rhythm section, the lyrics about trying to find inspiration. I love it. There's probably been enough written about it, but it's one of the early tracks on Low. Speed of Life kicks off the album, and then I think Sound and Vision is the second track, and it's so catchy. I find myself humming along with it. Number 21 from Scary Monsters. This might be a surprise because I mentioned that I cut fashion in order to restrict my songs to three. And I have the opening track, It's No Game Part One. Yeah, I picked this over fashion. That was a hard, tough cut. I like them fairly equally, but the Japanese vocals and the totally almost psychotic vocal by Bowie and the great melody, and then Fripp's wild guitar. I don't know. I just love this song. I also like part two that closes the album, but I prefer this manic version. Um, I don't know. I'm almost addicted to it. I can't explain it. It's just this great piece of unhinged art pop, and it's sonic candy. It's not easy listening, but I love it. All right, that's my just to recap: Boys Keep Swinging, Space Oddity, Sweet Thing Candidate, Sweet Thing, Sound and Vision. It's No Game Part One.
All right. So for me, we've got for 20 through 16, Loving the Alien from Tonight. It's definitely my favorite song from Tonight. And a lot of people who don't really listen to it closely think that this is one of Bowie's space songs. And I wish it were, because I've thought about putting together an entire collection of songs that Bowie wrote about space. But this is not the alien that he's talking about. He's talking about loving the other, having compassion for another um, culture. It's about the Crusades, and about how um, basically the Crusaders destroyed so much of Islam, um, and but however you want to interpret it, it just has a great melody to it, great vocal. Um, Christians and the Unbelievers, that's the it's Bowie doing his one of his cries for unity. Then Young Americans. God, this is a good song. And on so many collections, this song has been the single version has been put on there. But the song really deserves to be heard in its original full length version. Um, Great lyrics, and one of the best early vocals by Bowie when he says, "Ain't there one damn song that can make me down and cry?" But it's just it's really a fine song. And even when I was kind of leery of Bowie's Plastic Soul, I loved this song. Then from The Man Who Sold the World, we have the title track, made famous because of Kurt Cobain doing it on his Unplugged, Nirvana Unplugged. But I've always liked The Man Who Sold the World by Bowie. It's a perfect representation of the album itself of Man Who Sold the World. And then from Diamond Dogs, I mentioned that Rebel Rebel. I heard it late at night on the radio, and I thought, this is the Rolling Stones. It's Bowie doing the Rolling Stones. And it definitely is that. It has a very Keith Richards riff to it. Um, and but it's such a powerful amusing glam thing. Got your mother in a whirl. She's not sure if you're a boy or a girl. And it's like this was sort of my introduction to glam rock, also, this song, as it was for many people who first heard the song or who saw the video in England. It had a bigger impact there than it did here. Um, and then the next one is a song that not as many people know about, but I love this song. It's from Reality. It's Bring Me the Disco King. And this is a um, another Mike Garson showpiece. And and there has some repetition in it, and it's another Bowie crooner, but Bring Me the Disco King. I never figured out what Bowie wants to do with the Disco King, but whatever it is, it's the it's a very strong song. So, Loving the Alien, Young Americans, The Man Who Sold the World, Rebel Rebel, and Bring Me the Disco King. Oh, and then in Bring Me the Disco King, my favorite part of it is when Bowie sings Dance, Dance, Dance Through the Fire.
I like, and I like the line, "Bring me the Disco King, dead or alive."
Dead or Alive, yeah.
I think that changes the whole meaning of the song. Yeah, yeah, I love that song too. Great list, Jim. Um, I say a lot, guys. Sorry about that. If you're viewing the channel, number 20, I have the title track from Aladdin Sane. I do have a brief story on here. You might have been involved in this, Jim. You might not have, but I actually do remember the first time I heard the song. And that's rare because my memory for, I don't associate music with places. Like the first time I hear something, but Aladdin Sane, I'll never forget. I was in high school. We were a bunch of guys. We were going out someplace. You were probably involved. And when you're picking up your friends, they're never ready, right? There's always those people that are never ready. So maybe you're sitting in front of a television set waiting for your friend to get out of the shower or whatever. I was in the back seat of a car, and there were like three of us huddled back there. We were crammed in this car, and we were waiting for somebody. And the guy just turned on the FM radio, probably KDKB, and I heard this song, and it sounded to me like it was from another planet. I think it's hard for I think it's harder for people today to have the context of how strange certain songs sound. I mentioned to you one time the first time you played Bob Marley for me, it I didn't even know if I liked it or not. It sounded so strange. Now people just take reggae music for granted, right? Because they hear it in everything. Aladdin Sane, I'd never heard anything like it. Didn't know if I liked it. Didn't know if I hated it. Didn't know it was jazz. Just didn't know what I thought about the song, but I'll never forget it. It was so otherworldly. And now over the years, I just think Mike Garson is brilliant on that. Number 19, another song from Low. I have Always Crashing in the Same Car. Love that concept. Love the story behind it. Apparently, he really was driving. But it's a metaphor for when we do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, right? Classic insanity definition. So I love the lyrics, the drums, the synth, and really good guitar on it. Number 18, you just mentioned it, Loving the Alien. Great lyrics, great mood. I never knew the song was quite about that. I had a different interpretation that it was kind of had an atheist theme in it, but later he would embrace Christian themes. So I'm not really sure what the song's about, but those ideas about um, uh, uh, hooking your hopes on the sky or whatever that line is, and loving the alien, I always took it as a certain bizarreness about believing in gods. But yeah, and that might be a subtext or a sub theme in there, but it's just it's got those ahs in it, a little bit of marimba in there. It's just got a very catchy melody, and it's the standout from tonight. I mean, you play this song and it just jumps out at you. Number 17 from Lodger, a rare political song in Bowie's, though he would do it a little bit more later in his life. But at this point, when he did Fantastic Voyage on Lodger, there weren't that many overtly political songs in Bowie's catalog that I can think of. But yeah, the vocals. This this one of Bowie's best vocals. I mentioned China Girl. China Girl being an excellent vocal. Fantastic Voyage is also excellent but different. It doesn't have that build up and dynamics, but it just has, I don't know, you just really feel him on this song. He's singing with such emotion and power. Kicks off that album wonderfully. And number 16 from Scary Monsters, I Have Teenage Wildlife. And yeah, it is a repeat Fripp guitar line. I would say that I was always sensed that, but I never thought about it consciously, but it was kind of there in the back of my mind. And it's still a great Fripp solo. It's fantastic. I guess if it works once, use it twice, right? And the lyrics are so wonderful. About brand new what is it, brand new something in new drag or whatever it is. He's just
Same old
talking
thing
about
in brand
how,
new drag.
what's that?
Same old thing in brand new drag comes leaping into view.
Oh yeah, it, and I did a reaction on this channel one time where some people got mad at me that I heard the influences in a song. I was reacting to a song and I said it's not that original. Well, sorry, I'm old. I've been around. I've heard a million songs. I can tell when somebody is not particularly original, and he's kind of pointing to that at the same time, doing a song that feels kind of novel. Yeah, Scary Monsters, his divorce album, but it's it's wonderful. Um, so I will recap that. Let's see, one, two, three, four. Yeah, okay. Aladdin Sane, Always Crashing in the Same Car, Loving the Alien, Fantastic Voyage, Teenage Wildlife.
Great, great choices. So for me, 15 through 11 are Aladdin Sane. And so like one Mike Garson showpiece after another. This was the original one where Bowie just told Mike Garson, play as wild as you can, and Mike Garson did. And it's like if you're hearing it for the first time, it's like, whoa. But Garson is great. Did you know that? Correct me if I'm wrong, or somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that Mike Garson has played with Bowie. He played with Bowie more than any other musician.
I
Um,
believe that's correct.
yeah. Um, and because, not only was he a later addition to the Spiders, but in Bowie's later days, he was always his piano accompanist. And he even made an album of him doing instrumental versions of Bowie tracks. Um,
Hmm.
great pianist. Um, and then Ziggy Stardust from the Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. And if I can do a bonus, I would add Suffragette City to it because, like I said, it's hard for me to hear Ziggy Stardust without, at the very end of it, hearing that guitar. It's like
Yeah.
it's like two parts of one song, but uh, the song Ziggy Stardust is just such a brilliant. You talked about Bowie doing stories, and in 3.5 minutes, he does this amazing story about the alien rock musician becoming a messiah and being killed by his fans. And then, speaking of being killed. Um, so we've got Lazarus, okay, and the song Lazarus is uh, "Look at me, I'm in heaven." Hey, don't tell me Bowie didn't know that wasn't making this, like to play for his fans after he died. Um, and you watch the video and you see the same thing floating above himself. And but yes, it was written for the musical Lazarus, but it's also it's Bowie talking about his imminent demise, and it makes me cry and it makes me smile and it does all the things that a good Bowie song can do. And then um, the uh, the next one, number 12, is New Killer Star. And I love this song. It's a great Bowie rocker, almost as great as Rebel Rebel, maybe better in some ways. But have you noticed how when he says nuclear star, it's like nuclear star?
Mm.
He's doing a play on words here. Um, and so it's a great Bowie rocker, a showing in the early 2000s that he could still rock as excellent as ever. And I've already talked about Station to Station as being an amazing song with its slow build and its Earl Slick wild guitar, and Bowie singing about the return of the Thin White Duke and his bringing in all of this uh, Kabbalah imagery, and then the line that makes me I talk about makes me smile. It's not the side effects of the cocaine. I'm thinking that it must be love. It's too late to be grateful. It's too late to be later then. Um, so Bowie was at this point really interested in black magic. He was saving his urine because he was afraid that witches were going to come and steal his urine. So he was saving it in jars. And at this point, um, Bowie got really frightened of Jimmy Page because he thought that Jimmy Page was, remember, Bowie was really coked out of his skull. He thought that Jimmy Page was leading a coven of witches to come and steal his soul.
Sounds logical to me.
Yeah, yeah, Jimmy Page did that all the time.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so Aladdin Sane, Ziggy Stardust, Lazarus, New Killer Star, and Station to Station.
Two quick comments. One is I saw an interview with Mike Garson. He said the reason that he played with Bowie so much is just because he could switch gears. So as Bowie went through these different phases, Garson had the talent and the vocabulary to do something different with each album. And he said some musicians just couldn't shift with Bowie. So Bowie had to surround himself with new musicians, but the Garson always seemed to be able to pop in the keyboard slot. And then with you were talking about oh, I just lost my train of thought. It was Aladdin Sane, Ziggy Stardust. Oh, Lazarus. There's one mystery. I wonder if you can answer this for me. I'm sorry to digress, but I can't figure this out. If Lazarus is so obviously a death letter, then why was Bowie's death such a surprise? Because he had released that song in advance and the video in advance, and it was released to the public. And why didn't I hear stories of, oh my God, Bowie is dying? Was the public just asleep?
I think that we were in denial. I really do. I think that I mean, that's what it was for me. Um, I couldn't believe that Bowie, they say hindsight is 2020. Um, but he says, by the time I got to New York, I was living like a king. There I used up all my money. I was looking for your ass.
Yeah.
But then at the end of it, when he says, ain't it just like that bluebird, as you pointed out, I'll be free.
Yeah,
So
it seems so obvious in retrospect, and maybe we were so used to his characters. He had the musical, and then maybe another thing is that nobody was doing interviews. Bowie, Visconti, I mean, nobody was doing any interviews, so there was very little press, and people don't read critics as much as they used to. So maybe people who figured it out didn't have anyone to tell. They didn't have an outlet, they didn't have a channel, they weren't an influencer. But all I know is I was shocked by his death. I knew nothing about it. So, and
you
in
know,
the last month, we've lost people like Ozzy Osbourne, Sly Stone, Brian Wilson. I think for you and me, none of those names had the impact as when the day Bowie died. I remember we talked about it.
yeah,
It hit hard, didn't it?
the two deaths that hit me the hardest, and believe it or not, Bob Marley and John Lennon were not among them, although they were at the time. But since then, it's Bowie and Joe Strummer. Those are the deaths that really, really shocked me and depressed me. Um, it's interesting because Gary Oldman was one of Bowie's best friends, non-musician friends, and he's one of the few people that Bowie actually communicated with, telling him, "Look, I'm dying here, and I just want you to be aware of it because it could happen at any time." And when he first emailed him back and said, "Oh my God, David, I can't believe this. Are you going to be okay?" And Bowie said, "Yeah." Said, "There's an upside to it. I got my cheekbones back."
Ah, that's some dark humor. I never heard that
Hmm.
before.
Yeah, but yeah, that's straight out of Gary Oldman's mouth. So,
Wow. All right, you ready for my next five?
yep,
So you have mentioned four of these five songs. So the one that's going to jump out will be a big surprise to you. But I have at number 15, Rebel Rebel. I'm going, so it's from Diamond Dogs, but I'm going with the single mix, which I slightly prefer. But it's great off the album too. But I just, a little punchier, the single mix. It's my favorite track from Diamond Dogs, even though it seems like a safe choice, but it's just so catchy. And I love the lyrics. Great riff, as you mentioned, great lyrics. And it has a wonderful, here I go again, talking about the bass line, but the bass that comes in from Herbie Flowers, it's a die for. It's a wonderful bass line. Love it. Number 14, Black Star. Donnie McCaslin's band is brilliant. And you know what? Besides all the emotional lyrics and everything else, just do what I did one day. Listen to the song and only listen to the drums. Don't listen to anything else, just listen to the drums. And at the end of the video, you'll say to yourself, wow, how did he come up with those patterns? Because it's not rock drumming and it's not really jazz drumming. It's a very unique drum pattern that he puts on that song that kind of makes it really. And then a little past the halfway point, that song just lifts, because it's so claustrophobic. The first two-thirds of that song, you just feel like you're in a closet, and then all of a sudden, like the sun comes out from the clouds and the song lifts, and it's wonderful the way it just shifts, and then it comes back to a reprise, and it's brilliant. Love it. Number 13, here's my surprise from Heroes. I have Blackout.
mm, okay.
I love Heroes, and this song rocks so hard. I had to cut Beauty and the Beast, which I also like, but I only wrote one note here. If I were under Japanese influence, I'd get me to a doctor too. Enough said about that song. If you haven't heard it, it's wonderful. It's kind of screechy and rocky, and I don't know. I just love it. I want to get up and dance to it every time. Number 12, from the next day, Where Are We Now? I don't know, do melodies get any prettier than this one? Such a gorgeous melody. emotional lyrics, nostalgic song about his time in Berlin. Some people, I was watching some interviews. People were saying, Visconti was saying, "Really, Bowie is nostalgic?" Like they were surprised by this song because Bowie didn't really look back. Bowie was known for looking forward. But after his heart attack, he would occasionally take stock of things in his life, and there is a there's a melancholy to this song that's really, really powerful. It makes me happy. It makes me cry. It makes me sad. I get a lot of emotions from this song. And then at number 11, Ashes to Ashes, brilliant. I was thinking this week about the Beatles and how the Beatles were the first band I ever heard that would do callbacks, where they would do songs that would say, "I told you about the strawberry fields." And they would reference older songs. And there's a certain Beatlesque theme to this where he conjures up Major Tom again. That to me is an old Beatle trick, but it doesn't sound like the Beatles. It sounds like Bowie. And yeah, it's interesting, but not only is it brilliant musically with a lot of catchy choruses, like "My Mama Said, to get things done, you better not mess with Major Tom," and those are earworms. But also just this idea of incorporating the newfound sobriety he had found in his life. And you know what? I'll close with this. David, I'm happy too. Rebel Rebel, Single Mix, Black Star, Blackout, Where Are We Now? Ashes to Ashes.
Okay. Okay, so my 10 through 6. From Heathen, Slow Burn. It was tough for me to choose just one song from Heathen, but this is the one that I like the most. It's a really powerful David Bowie vocal, and it and also it this is not one that this is one that you can say, all right, it's not about 9/11, but it's just it's Bowie at his early 2000s best.
Mm-hmm.
He has a new sound, and that sound, which was in formation on Hours, and it kind of came into full fruition on the album Heathen. Um, and there's all Bowie sometimes would do albums that would be like trilogies. You've got Hours, Heathen, and Reality, and they all have a similar kind of sound to them. But I think that although Reality is the more accessible, Heathen is the one that I like the best. So Slow Burn. Then now we're getting to my very favorite Bowie songs. Drive-In Saturday, uh, an amazing glam doo-wop song. Um, and his name was always Buddy, and he'd shrug and ask to stay. And she'd sigh like Twig the Wonder Kid and turn her face away. And of course, Twiggy, he was hanging out with Twiggy at the time, but Twig the Wonder Kid. And, it's science fiction because it's like, like the video films we saw, it's about people, a young couple trying to figure out how to have sex by watching old movies because it's in a dystopian future and the world is destroyed and they're watching video films to figure out how to romance. Um, and it's a drive-in Saturday. And I just love Bowie's near the end. I mean, it's Bowie doo-wop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then great song from Never Let Me Down. Never Let Me Down is not a great album, but great song, Time Will Crawl. And the remix of it is the remix is even better, although I could go with the original too. Um, it, Cindy was all more than me, would always bemoan the fact that for a long time, Bowie stopped writing um, interesting science fiction type lyrics. And when this song came out, it was like, yes, he's doing it again. Um, you know, and he's singing about all the different things that are going to happen. And he says, and the pills that we took made our fingers disappear. Um, and that's such a Bowie line. And the pills that we took made our fingers disappear. Time will crawl till the 20th century. Um, and then, like Eugene, I for my number seven is Teenage Wildlife. Um, and I have to give Cindy the credit. I mean, I knew it was Fripp playing guitar on here, but when Cindy was making suggestions for my top 30, she said, "Well, you have to do the Heroes song from from Scary Monsters." I said, "The Heroes song?" Yeah, yeah, the Teenage Wildlife. Oh, yeah, that is, And I listened to it. I could hear it in my head, but it's it's like I think Bowie might have said to Fripp, "Hey, do what you did before." And Fripp does it. But it's a little bit different because it has some faster playing on it, but basically it's the same thing going on there. It's just and it's about all the new romantics and they said, "Davy, what can I do? They wait for me in the hallways." And I said, "Don't ask me. I don't know any hallways." Um, and so can't do this to me. I'm just another teenage wildlife. And then Sweet Thing Candidate, Sweet Thing as one track. Um, and it starts off very much like it's creepy, it's scary, it's safe in the city for love in the doorway to wrangle some keys from the door. Um, and it's the first time I'd ever really heard Bowie croon like that. And I remember, I'm sure that I played that song for you and said, listen to Bowie's vocal on this. Um, and when he says, you know, it's a it's a street with a deal. It's got taste. It's got pause. It's got me. And he goes into a falsetto, you. And that's on Sweet Thing reprise. But the middle part of it, candidate, builds up to something that is definitely a nod to the opening of Mother of Pearl. It even has the ooh, ooh in it. And so, you've got this, you know, Bowie, hey, Brian and boys, look, I can do you too. Um, and it's Bowie's Roxy Music song. And like I said, he models his sax playing after Andy Mackay. So Slow Burn, Drive In Saturday, Time Will Crawl, Teenage Wildlife, and Sweet Thing.
So Sweet Thing, is that studio or live?
That's the studio one.
Okay.
It's yeah, because his vocal is a little stronger on Diamond Dogs.
So when I do the top playlist for those who want to check out our playlist, that'll be three songs. So it'll change the total number of songs. It won't be 60 songs, it'll be 62 songs, but there's nothing I can do about that. It really is one piece, but it was
Yes,
broken
it
out.
is. And on one album that he released, I told you about it. The album that Bowie chose his favorite songs. It just played as one song. It wasn't broken into three parts.
Yeah, I'll look again on Spotify. It's hard to find it as one piece.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So I'm going to do my 10 through 6 now. And I think you'll enjoy this, Jim. I think you'll enjoy
Okay.
this. You will be surprised by one of them, I think. And that's this one at number 10. I have Let's Dance.
Oh, okay.
Now, one one thing that I always loved the song, and I'd seen that tour, and yeah, I always loved it. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar. But then Rick Beato did he has this series he does called what makes this song great? And he takes the stems and he isolates everything and he does a whole video where he plays just the bass, just the drums, just the vocal, just the horns, just the congas, and he isolates and then puts them back together again. And after I watched Rick Beato's video on this, I thought, my God, that song is genius. It's absolutely master production. And now when I listen to Let's Dance, I hear it differently than I used to. I hear the echo and the reverb, and the congos are much more prominent to me. There was something about watching him break that song down that gave me a new appreciation for it. It's fun. It's got a great beat. It's got that wonderful synth bass. And I didn't even realize that. I thought it was a bass, but it's synth bass. And but then they play synth bass, but then they doubled it up with the real bass. So it's really an incredible production. If anyone has not seen that video, it's fabulous. And I was like, no wonder the song sounds so unique. And it's forward looking and backward looking and everything. And it's got that great guitar on it. It's got that great groove, that great beat, great horns, everything about it, great vocal. Let's dance. Now, at 987, I put three songs together from the same album because I just couldn't separate them on this list. These are my three Ziggy songs. And which one's they going to be? Because everyone has different favorites, right? So I've got Starman, Moon Age Daydream, and Ziggy Stardust. Yeah, that was a lot to cut. I know, no Rock and Roll Suicide, no Suffragette City, but Starman just has this wonderful groove, that acoustic guitar groove on it. And then those drums that Woody does on here. Yeah, it's just irresistible. Great storytelling. Moon Age Daydream. Is that Mick Ronson's best guitar solo? Maybe. It starts out as a pretty normal song, but by the end it's psychedelic, really. It's just this incredibly recorded electric guitar by Mick Ronson, and I love it. And then Ziggy Stardust, of course, the classic. Ziggy played guitar, and that'd be a great song by anybody. It's just a well-written song. Cover versions. I don't know if anyone's done it other than maybe Bauhaus or somebody like that did it, but it's just a great song. And then at number 6, I have Lazarus, the Swan Song. Look up here, man. I'm in danger. Very emotional, uh, with or without the video. My favorite song from Black Star. I love Lazarus. So let's dance. Starman, Moon Age Daydream, Ziggy Stardust, Lazarus.
Amazing songs, amazing all the way through. All right, my final five. Number five is Black Star.
Hmm.
And it's the only Bowie song that is post 1980 that is in my top five. So, this says something about it. But we've already talked about it, and you know, the I love as it goes into the quiet, pleasant, something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose up. And then
Yeah.
he then if you watch the video, this is the death of Major Tom. Okay, it is a eulogy for Major Tom. Um, so when I put together my collection of Bowie space songs, it'll start with Space Oddity, have Ashes to Ashes in the middle, and end with Black Star. Um, Number four, Scary Monsters. I know that you didn't. This doesn't. It didn't affect you as much as it does me. But I love the way you feel about It's No Game. For me, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps is the song. It
Hmm.
has a very it's not scary. It's a great rocker and it's funny. And it's Bowie trying to be scary, but he's not. But it's Scary monsters. Maybe if he would have done it more like Count Dracula or like Bob Dylan circa 1966, scary monsters and super creeps. Um,
Instead, he does that effect on the vocals that makes it waver.
yeah, yeah. This weird vibrato. Um, Number three Bowie song of all time, Heroes. I love the song Heroes. And just like I said, young Americans, you really want to hear all of Heroes. I mean, all of young Americans, Heroes from beginning to end. When it cuts off the opening, it's still a good song, but it's not as great.
Yeah.
And it's just it's an absolute classic. And then I was really surprised that my number two Bowie song is a cover, but it is Wild as the Wind from Station to Station, the 2010 Harry Maslin mix. Um, and it's probably if I had to play the best Bowie vocal ever, his best vocal, I would choose Wild as the Wind. Um, his he's just he's a classic crooner on Wild as the Wind. And then number one, if you haven't heard it yet, I mean, if you haven't heard me say it yet, it's because I've been holding off. To me, if I had to choose a single Bowie song to represent who David Bowie was, writing wise and song wise, and singing wise, Life on Mars. It's a god awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair. And when he sings, take a look at the lawman shooting up the wrong guys. Oh man, wonder if you'll never know. It's in the freakiest show. It's Is There Life on Mars? This is to me the highlight of Hunky Dory. It's the highlight of pre-Ziggy Bowie. And every time Bowie does it live, one of the things that Cindy and I were really amazed with when we saw him at the end in the 2000s was he did Life on Mars and he sang it perfectly. He was able to still soar. His vocals were able to
Mhm.
still soar on Is There Life on Mars? So, you know, hey, Bloom, play me a Bowie song that you think I'll like, Life on Mars. So Black Star, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, Heroes, Wild as the Wind, and Life on Mars.
Wow, that's a great list. Um, I like all those songs. Wild is the Wind at number two. Yeah, that is a bit of a surprise, but great song. No argument with it. So yeah, my top five. So I have got two songs that you didn't mention. Yeah. Um, so at number five, I have Stay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going with a version from an album that we did not talk about on our albums ranking because it's a posthumous release. But I'm going with the version from Live at the Nassau Coliseum 76. Yeah, it doesn't have Earl Slick on it. It has Stacy Hedden instead, but it's one of his best live tracks. I've seen it performed twice, once in 76 and once in 78 with you, and we saw Adrian Belew play the guitar on it. Stay is one of the funkiest, most grooving Bowie songs. I love it. I was watching again this week his performance of that on the Dinah Shore show in 76, which is great. His dance moves are great. Um, and it's a little extended on the live version. I remember when I saw him in 76 that he used the opportunity to light up a cigarette while the band was playing a 2 to 3 minute outro that extends the song. And he just sat and smiled and watched the band and smoked a cigarette. So, Stay is a wonderful song. I love it that much. But it's, from my favorite album, right? Station to Station. Number four and three are from Hunky Dory, which is an album I've not mentioned yet. Number four, I have Changes. It's a song. It's one of the first Bowie songs I ever heard. Then I took it for granted for years, but it kind of became a mantra for my channel when I was doing newer music in the older format. And these children that you spit on as they try to make their way through this world are immune to your consultations, are quite aware of what they're going through. And it kind of became a mantra for my channel. And I just took it to mean that, you know what, Gene, you don't have to agree or understand. You just have to accept. And that's what I do. There's a lot of things about modern music that I love and appreciate. There's a few things that occasionally baffle me. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The guard is changing, and I understand that. Um, I think it's a powerful lyric, and the ch 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 chorus is catchy. So yeah, fantastic lyrics about the younger generation. I just I think one reason that the song has grown in appreciation for me over the years is because it's aged well. Changes still sounds contemporary in its lyrical theme, and I love that. Number three, Life on Mars. I read that this was Mick Ronson's first attempt at doing a string arrangement.
Really?
Who could have ever guessed that? This string arrangement is is equally brilliant to Wakeman's piano. Now, one thing that stopped me from loving this song more in the past was I didn't understand what it was about. The lyrics were way too cryptic for this young man when I was in my 20s listening to Life on Mars. I always liked the melody, but I'm like, what the hell is that song about? But over the years, I've come to understand about the teenage girl trying to escape her life and going to the movies and the whole bit. And it's like, everyone's got a slightly different interpretation of it. And I was watching a reaction to it the recently in the last month. Somebody listening for the first time, and I always thought that line "Mickey Mouse has grown up a cow" was kind of strange, but then he tied it into the later line of all the mice and their hordes. He pointed out that mice are mentioned twice in the song. And I was like, yeah, this song's a lot more deliberate. It's, maybe it's stream of consciousness, but they really are brilliant lyrics. And you just have to work. You have to work to understand the song. I don't think it is the most immediate or accessible song in his discography. But over the years, Life on Mars is undeniably great song, number one on most people's list. Number two, I have Station to Station. Thank you for mentioning the Harry Maslin mix. I forgot to mention that. I much prefer the Harry Maslin mix, and we'll go ahead and use his mixes for this track. I don't know. There's just something better about that. No offense to Visconti, but Visconti remixed it, and I prefer the original Harry Maslin. But Station to Station, it's really a two part or three-part song, and it changes and it shifts. It goes through all these dynamics. The fact that it's 10 minutes, it's a fast 10 minutes. But here I am. I'm going to mention the bass line again. Is this one of Bowie's best bass lines? Is this one of George Murray's best bass lines? You know what? This is one of the best bass songs ever, ever. If I made a list of my 10 or 20 favorite bass songs ever, this would be on there, along with some Tina Weymouth songs from the Talking Heads, maybe some Jaco Pastorius with Weather Report. I I listened to George Murray's bass on here, and it cooks, and it's just to me one of the best bass lines ever. And yeah, that groove that takes, I mean, the song just keeps building and building and building and building, and the lyrics are fabulous. Love Station to Station. Number one, Heroes, master vocal, Visconti's mic placement, where when Bowie he did this three mic thing where he set up three rows of mics, and as Bowie would increase his volume, the gates on the microphones, gates is the wrong word, but the microphone would open up at a certain volume. So as Bowie gets more emotional, the room changes, and it gives this album, it gives this song such a unique architecture. And then you have that wonderful Fripp uh, vocal. I mean, the Fripp guitar, and you have the wonderful rhythm section and the synth line, and then of course the lyrics, which supposedly were about Visconti was kind of he was married, but he was flirting with the secretary out at the wall. So the meaning of this song didn't get revealed for years and years and years to protect to protect Visconti's marriage. Yeah, dirty rat. Anyway, it led to a great song, and it was right there in Berlin that they were recording this, and they just took the energy of the city they were in and made this masterful song. So, Stay changes life on Mars, Station to Station Heroes.
Great, great.
All right. Any surprises, Jim?
Just I think I was kind of surprised to see Blackout being put in there.
Yeah.
Um, but otherwise, not really. Although, you know, we could talk about songs that I didn't put in and that you didn't put in. Like I didn't have changes on there. Um, and it's such an incredible song, but just didn't have room for it, you know.
And
Um,
mine for top 35.
yeah,
The song that you mentioned that was in my top 35 was Drive-In Saturday. And it was a last minute late cut. Uh, Brilliant song. You know, I only took one song from Aladdin Sane, and it was the title track. But I, my second favorite song, I think, is Drive-In Saturday, and then Panic in Detroit. So yeah, that was really tough. Well, I thank you for joining me, Jim. Hang on a little bit, and after the recording, and I just want to say bye to everybody. Thank you for watching. Please, we would love to see your comments.
Toodaloo.
We're not going to put an Excel sheet on the end. Instead, we'll put a link to the playlist below. And if you want to know more details about our songs or listen to them, you can just click on that link and go to Spotify, and we'll have all our songs here. Some songs like Sweet Head are not on Spotify. So what we'll do is we'll just maybe see if we can, I don't know, I'll figure something out, but there'll be a couple omissions. But other than that, every song that's available we'll put on there. And so, as we say here in Bonita, Mexico, buen dia.
Bye bye.